First contact. The bright dot in the night sky grew larger with each passing hour. At first, the scientists at the North American Space Center thought it might be a comet or an asteroid, but when it slowed down and took up a position in Earth's orbit, they knew they were dealing with something entirely different. "Sir, you need to see this," said Mike, the young technician who first spotted the object. His hands shook as he pointed at the screen. Director Alan Roberts squinted at the monitor. The object was clearly not natural. It had straight lines and angles that suggested it was built, not formed by space rocks. "Have they sent any signals?" Roberts asked. "No, sir. Nothing. It's just sitting there, silent," Mike replied. Within hours, the news spread across the globe. An alien ship had arrived at Earth. People reacted with fear, wonder, and everything in between. Some ran to churches to pray. Others partied like it was the end of the world. Most just watched their screens, waiting for more information. In Washington, the president called an emergency meeting. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials gathered in a secure room deep beneath the White House. "We need to make contact," said the president, looking tired and worried. "But we also need to be careful. This could be the greatest moment in human history or the beginning of the end." Jack Wilson stood at attention in the back of the room. As the commander of the Special Space Operations Team, he knew he would be involved in whatever happened next. Jack was 42 years old, with gray starting to show in his dark hair. 20 years in the military had left him with a strong body and a face that rarely showed emotion. "Commander Wilson," the president said, "your team will lead this mission. Get close to that ship, try to communicate, but be ready for anything." "Yes, sir," Jack replied. His face remained calm, but inside his heart raced. This was why he had trained all his life. 6 hours later, Jack and his team of 5 approached the alien vessel in their space shuttle. Up close, the ship was even stranger than it had appeared on the screens. It was long and curved like a giant silver leaf. Its surface seemed to shift color slightly as they watched, reflecting the stars and Earth below. "No visible weapons," said Lisa Chen, the team's science officer. She was small but tough, with quick eyes that missed nothing. "And I'm detecting very low power readings. This thing might be running on backup systems." "Or it's a trick," said Tom Davis, the security specialist. His hand never left his weapon. They could be hiding their real power. Jack kept his eyes on the alien vessel as their shuttle moved closer. "Stay alert, but remember we're here to make friends if we can." Their shuttle docked with the alien ship with a soft thud. The team put on their space suits and prepared to enter through the airlock. "Command, this is Wilson," Jack said into his radio. "We're going in." "Understood," came the reply from Earth. "Be careful." The inside of the alien ship was dark, lit only by faint blue lights along the floor. The air was breathable according to their instruments, so after testing it carefully, the team removed their helmets. "It's cold in here," Lisa said, her breath visible in the chilly air. "And look at these controls. They're not designed for human hands." The walls were smooth and curved with strange symbols etched into them. The team moved slowly through narrow hallways, recording everything with their cameras. "This place feels dead," Tom whispered. "Like a ghost ship." Lisa checked her instruments. "There's a stronger power source ahead. And wait. I'm detecting a life form." Jack held up his hand, signaling the team to stop. "One life form. Are you sure?" "Yes," Lisa replied. "It's faint, but it's there." They moved forward more carefully now, until they reached a large round room that seemed to be the ship's control center. In the middle stood a clear tube filled with a glowing green liquid. And floating inside was a figure. "Is it alive?" asked Mike, who had joined them from the space center due to his technical expertise. Lisa approached the tube carefully. "It's in some kind of sleep state, like hibernation." The alien was tall and thin with grayish-blue skin. It had 2 arms and 2 legs like a human, but its head was larger with no hair and 3 sets of eyelids closed over what must be eyes. Its hands had 6 long fingers each. "Can we wake it up?" Jack asked. "I don't think we should," Tom said quickly. "We don't know what it might do." "We came here to make contact," Jack reminded him. "Lisa, is there a safe way to communicate?" Lisa studied the controls around the tube. These symbols here, they might be related to the hibernation system. She touched one of them gently. Suddenly, the room lit up brightly. Alarms started to sound, and the green liquid in the tube began to drain away. "What did you do?" Tom shouted, raising his weapon. "I just touched it," Lisa said, backing away. The alien's eyes began to open. First one set of eyelids, then the second, and finally the third. Its eyes were deep black with small flecks of gold that seemed to move. Jack stepped forward, hands raised to show he was unarmed. "We come in peace," he said, though he knew the alien probably couldn't understand him. The alien looked at each of them, its gaze stopping on Jack. Then it raised one six-fingered hand and pressed it against the inside of the tube. Its mouth opened, showing teeth that looked surprisingly human. A voice filled the room, seeming to come from everywhere at once. It spoke in a language none of them had ever heard before, musical and full of clicks. "It's trying to communicate," Lisa said excitedly. Then the alien's eyes widened in what looked like fear. It pressed both hands against the tube and spoke more urgently. "Something's wrong," Jack said, moving closer. "It's afraid of something." Suddenly all the lights in the ship turned red. Metal doors slid shut over the entrances to the room, locking them in. "Wilson to command," Jack said into his radio. "We've made contact with a single alien life form, but something's happening with the ship." His radio crackled with static, then went silent. "We've lost communication," Tom said, his voice tight with tension. The alien looked at them with those strange black and gold eyes. It touched the side of its head, then pointed to each of them. A new voice spoke, this time in English, though it sounded flat and mechanical. "You should not be here. They are coming." Jack stepped closer to the tube. "Who is coming? Can you understand me?" The alien nodded slowly. "They sent me as warning, but also as bait." "Bait for what?" Lisa asked. The ship shuddered around them. Outside, Earth's military forces were no doubt preparing for a possible attack. Maybe even considering firing on the vessel. The alien looked directly at Jack again. "For you, for Earth. You must help me or they will destroy everything." And in that moment, Jack knew that nothing would ever be the same again. The red warning lights kept flashing throughout the alien ship as Jack and his team found themselves locked in the control room with the strange visitor. The mechanical voice translation system clicked in, words struggling to convert the alien's language into something they could understand. "My name," the alien said slowly, the words coming out in a flat, computerized tone. "You can call me Ren." Jack stepped closer to the tube. "I'm Commander Jack Wilson. We're from Earth. We came in peace." Ren's large head tilted slightly to one side. "Peace? Yes, that is why I am here. But not how you think." The tube around Ren began to open with a hiss, and Tom raised his weapon again. "Stand down," Jack ordered. "Let's hear what he has to say." Ren stepped out of the tube unsteadily, his tall, thin body swaying as if unused to gravity. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, towering over even Jack. Up close, his skin wasn't just grayish-blue but had patterns that seemed to shift slightly, like oil on water. "This ship," Ren said, touching the wall with his six-fingered hand. "Not ambassador ship. Prison ship." Lisa gasped. "You're a prisoner." Ren's 3 sets of eyelids blinked in sequence. "Yes. Criminal. Dangerous criminal." He tapped his large head. "Dangerous ideas." Jack frowned. What kind of ideas could be so dangerous that they'd send you away in a ship? Before Ren could answer, a loud bang echoed through the ship. Something was trying to get in. "That will be your military," Ren said. "They think I am threat." "They are right, but not how they think." Tom moved to the sealed door. "We've lost contact with command. They're probably trying to rescue us or neutralize what they see as a threat." Jack added, "We need to establish communication and let them know we're okay." Ren shook his head. "Not okay. Nothing okay." He walked to a control panel and waved his hand over it. A screen lit up, showing images of stars and planets. "I come from far away. The collective." The screen showed a star system with 12 planets. Then it zoomed in on one world covered in gleaming cities. The collective is one mind, many bodies, all connected. Ren touched his head again. Born connected, think together, feel together, act together. A hive mind. Lisa asked, fascinated. Your entire species shares one consciousness. Yes, but I. Ren hesitated, his large eyes blinking rapidly. I was different. I could disconnect, think alone, have own thoughts. He looked at each of them. You all think alone, separate, individual. Another loud bang shook the ship. They're going to break through soon, Mike warned. Jack made a quick decision. Ren, we need to contact our leaders. Explain who you are and why you're here. Can you help us restore communications? Ren moved to another panel. I try, but first you must understand. I was sent away because dangerous. I questioned the unity. I wanted freedom. The word seemed to cause him pain. They said I was sick. Put me in this ship. Set course for empty space to drift forever. Then how did you end up at Earth? Lisa asked. Solar storm damaged navigation, ship found nearest habitable world. Ren's fingers moved across the panel. Your Earth. The banging grew louder. Metal groaned as someone or something tried to cut through the sealed doors. The ship's defense systems activated when it detected your approach, Ren explained. It is programmed to keep me in, others out. Can you shut them down? Jack asked. Ren's eyes fixed on Jack's. If I do, your military will take me. Study me. Cut me open. Jack wanted to deny it, but he knew Ren was probably right. Standard protocol for first contact with potentially hostile aliens would involve containment and thorough examination. I won't let that happen, Jack said firmly. You have my word. Ren stared at him for a long moment. In the collective, word means nothing. All thoughts are shared. Lies impossible. He blinked all 3 sets of eyelids. But I see truth in your eyes. Like me, you think differently. The door began to glow red as cutting torches worked from the other side. Ren pressed several controls. The ship hummed as systems came back online. Communications restored, but ship defenses also active. Will protect me as programmed. Jack quickly activated his radio. Command, this is Wilson. Do you copy? After a moment of static, a voice came through. Wilson, this is General Grant. Report your status immediately. Sir, we've made contact with a single alien occupant. His name is Ren. He's not hostile, but the ship's automated defense systems are active. Tell the breach team to stand down. Before a loud explosion cut him off as the door blew inward. Smoke filled the room as armed soldiers in hazmat suits rushed in. Stand down. Jack shouted. We have a peaceful contact. But in the confusion, one of the soldiers fired a shot. It missed Ren but hit a control panel, which erupted in sparks. Suddenly, the entire ship shuddered, and a high-pitched alarm began to sound. What's happening? Lisa shouted over the noise. Ren's face showed clear alarm, even though his features were alien. Self-defense protocol activated. Ship will protect itself. Outside the control room, they heard more explosions and shouts of pain. Tell your soldiers to leave ship, Ren said urgently. Automated weapons will target all intruders. Jack relayed the order through his radio, and the breach team began to retreat, but the damage was done. The ship's systems were now in full defensive mode. Ren worked frantically at the controls. Cannot stop defense protocol once started. Ship is thinking it is under attack. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing Earth's military ships surrounding them. Small objects were launching from Ren's ship. Some kind of defensive weapons. No. Ren cried, his mechanical voice translation unable to capture the emotion in his actual voice. We'll cause war. Jack made a split-second decision. Can you access the ship's navigation? Can we move away from Earth? Ren nodded and moved to another panel. The ship hummed louder as engines powered up. Wilson, what the hell is going on up there? General Grant's voice came through the radio. That ship is powering weapons. Sir, we're trying to move the ship away to prevent conflict. The defense systems activated automatically. The alien is cooperating. I repeat, he is not hostile. Those are not your orders, Commander. You are to secure the alien and abandon ship. That's an order. Jack looked at Ren, who was still working desperately at the controls. In that moment, Jack saw not a dangerous alien prisoner but someone fighting for his life. Someone who had been punished simply for wanting to be free. I can't do that, sir, Jack said quietly. What did you say, Commander? I said I can't abandon him. This ship is set to defend itself. If we try to take Ren by force, people will die on both sides. The ship began to move slowly, pulling away from Earth's orbit. Wilson, you are relieved of command. This is now a hostile action. All units prepare to. Jack switched off his radio. He turned to his team. I can't order any of you to stay. This is my decision. Tom stepped forward. You're going against direct orders, Commander. I am, Jack admitted. Because sometimes orders are wrong. Lisa moved to stand beside Jack. I'm staying. This is first contact. This is why we trained. Mike nodded. Me too. Only Tom hesitated. They'll court-martial you for this, you know. Jack nodded. Probably. But I couldn't live with myself if I handed him over to be dissected. As the ship accelerated away from Earth, Ren watched them with his strange eyes. Why help me? I am nothing to you. Jack looked out at the stars growing brighter as they left Earth behind. Because on our world we believe that freedom matters. That individuals matter. Freedom, Ren repeated the word, sounding less painful now. That is why they fear me, why they sent me away. He looked at each of them. The collective fears what it cannot control. Well, Jack said, they were right to be afraid because now their dangerous prisoner has found allies. The ship sped deeper into space, carrying them all toward an uncertain future. The escape pod shot through Earth's atmosphere, flames licking at its sides as it descended. Inside, Jack held tightly to a support rail while Ren worked the controls with his six-fingered hands. Can you land this thing? Jack shouted over the roar of their entry. Ship is damaged, Ren replied, his translation device making his voice sound flat despite the tension. We'll try for soft landing. The small craft shuddered violently. They had barely escaped the main ship before Earth's military fired upon it. The prison vessel's defenses had responded in kind, creating a battle in orbit that lit up the night sky across half the planet. There, Ren pointed to a green area on their navigation screen. Trees will slow fall. Jack nodded grimly. Better than the ocean. The pod crashed through the upper branches of tall pine trees, slowing its descent before hitting the ground with a bone-jarring thud. Warning lights flashed across the control panel as systems failed one by one. We need to move, Jack said, checking his few supplies. They'll track the pod's descent path. Ren moved unsteadily to his feet. On Earth, his tall, thin body seemed even more fragile than in space. Atmosphere feels heavy. Much oxygen. Will you be able to breathe okay? Jack asked with concern. Yes, different but possible, Ren blinked his 3 sets of eyelids. But your sun very bright. Jack dug through the emergency kit and found a pair of sunglasses. Try these. The alien slid them over his large eyes, looking oddly human despite his blue-gray skin and hairless head. They left the smoking pod behind and moved deeper into the forest. Jack guessed they were somewhere in the northern United States or southern Canada. Based on the vegetation, it was early autumn, with the leaves just beginning to change color. Your world, so much life, Ren said, touching a tree trunk with wonder. The collective worlds are ordered, controlled. Jack checked his compass. We need to find shelter and figure out our next move. They will send hunters, Ren said suddenly, his voice low. Not just your military, the collective. Jack stopped walking. Your people. But how would they know where you are? We're light years from your home. Prison ship sends signal if prisoner escapes, built into design. Ren pointed to his own chest. Also tracker inside me. Can it be removed? Ren shook his head. Linked to vital systems. Remove tracker, I die. Jack cursed under his breath. So we've got Earth's military and your people both hunting us. Great. They walked for hours, moving deeper into the wilderness. Jack had been trained for survival situations, but he'd never imagined he'd be using those skills to help an alien fugitive. By nightfall, they found a small cave that offered some shelter. As Jack worked to start a fire, he thought about what he'd done. He disobeyed direct orders, abandoned his team. Become a traitor to help someone he barely knew. You regret helping me? Ren said, watching him with those strange eyes behind the sunglasses. Jack looked up. I don't regret it, but I'm wondering if I made the right choice. Choice, Ren repeated the word carefully. In the collective, no choice exists. All decisions made by unity. All thoughts shared. That sounds awful, Jack said as the fire caught the dry wood. Never knew different. Was natural. Ren moved closer to the fire, his thin body shivering slightly in the cool night air. Then one day, my connection weakened. Could hear own thoughts. Terrifying at first. Jack offered him a protein bar from his emergency kit. So you're some kind of mutation? A glitch in your species perhaps? Or evolution? Ren examined the food bar carefully before taking a small bite. Began to question why must all think same. Why no room for new ideas? And that's why they exiled you. For asking questions. Ren's expression changed slightly. Even with his alien features, Jack could recognize sadness. Not just questions. I shared the feeling of being alone in mind. Some others began to disconnect too. Ren looked into the fire. Collective called it mind virus. Dangerous infection. The sound of helicopters in the distance made them both tense. They're searching the area, Jack said, quickly putting out the fire. We need to keep moving. They traveled by night after that, hiding during the day. Jack's military training helped them avoid patrols and search parties. News reports on radio stations they occasionally picked up told of a dangerous alien encounter and a rogue military officer who had betrayed Earth security. 3 days after their crash, they came upon a small cabin deep in the woods. Smoke rose from its chimney. Someone lives here, Jack whispered. We should avoid it. But before they could retreat, the cabin door opened. A woman stepped out, rifle in hand, pointing directly at them. That's far enough, she called. I can see you both clearly. Jack slowly raised his hands. We're not here to cause trouble. The woman stepped forward. She was in her 50s, with gray-streaked hair tied back and the weathered face of someone who had spent years outdoors. You're that soldier they're talking about on the radio, she said, keeping the rifle steady. The one who helped the alien escape. Yes, Jack admitted. Her eyes shifted to Ren, widening slightly at his alien appearance despite the sunglasses and coat Jack had found to disguise him. I'm Maria, she said after a long pause. And I don't much care for the government telling me what to think about anything. She lowered the rifle slightly. You both look half-starved. Come inside. Maria's cabin was small but well-equipped. She lived off the grid, generating her own power through solar panels and a small windmill. Used to work for the tech industry, she explained as she served them hot stew. Got tired of helping them spy on people. Came out here 5 years ago. Ren studied her communication equipment with interest. Advanced technology. Can send signals far. Maria nodded. That's a satellite uplink. I keep tabs on what's happening in the world without letting the world keep tabs on me. Jack explained their situation, leaving out some details for safety. So they want to lock you up for having dangerous ideas? Maria asked Ren. Sounds like plenty of governments right here on Earth. Suddenly, Ren stiffened. His 3 sets of eyelids blinked rapidly. What's wrong? Jack asked. Feel something. Ren moved to the window, looking up at the night sky. The hunter drones. They have arrived. As if to confirm his words, a high-pitched whine filled the air outside. A bright light swept across the forest. What the hell is that? Maria moved to dim the lights in the cabin. Collective technology, Ren said. Drones that hunt by tracking brain patterns. Will find me soon. Can they be stopped? Jack asked. Yes, but need equipment, parts to build disruptor. Maria's face hardened with determination. Tell me what you need. I've got plenty of spare tech around here. For the next 2 days, they worked together to build what Ren called a mind shield. Maria's technical knowledge proved invaluable as they improvised with the parts she had collected over the years. Meanwhile, the hunter drones grew closer. Their searchlights could be seen every night, sweeping the forest methodically. Almost complete, Ren said as he connected the final wires on their device. We'll block tracker signal and hide brain patterns. A loud crash outside made them all freeze. That wasn't a drone, Jack said, reaching for the rifle Maria had given him. The door burst open. Colonel Ben Harris stood there, flanked by 2 soldiers in full tactical gear. Jack Wilson, Harris said, his voice hard. You are under arrest for treason against the United States and crimes against humanity. Jack raised his hand slowly. Ben, you don't understand what's happening here. I understand that you helped an alien hostile escape after it attacked our forces, Harris said coldly. Now step away from it and come quietly. Ren stood slowly, removing his sunglasses to face the colonel with his strange eyes. I am not hostile, but those who hunt me are. Harris's gaze flickered between Jack and Ren. For a moment, Jack thought he saw doubt in his old mentor's eyes. Then the sky outside lit up with an unnatural purple glow. They're here, Ren whispered. The real hunters have found us. The purple light flooded through the windows of Maria's cabin, casting eerie shadows on the walls. The sound that accompanied it was unlike anything Jack had ever heard, a high-pitched hum that seemed to vibrate inside his skull. What is that? Colonel Harris demanded, his weapon still trained on Ren but his eyes now darting nervously to the windows. Hunter drones, Ren explained, his mechanical voice translation somehow sounding more urgent. First wave of collective forces. Outside, the trees swayed as something large moved through the forest. The purple light grew brighter, pulsing in a steady rhythm. We need to finish the mind shield, Jack said, turning to the half-completed device on Maria's workbench. Now. Colonel Harris looked confused, but the soldiers with him tensed, ready to fire. Stand down, Wilson, Harris ordered. This is still a military operation. Maria stepped forward. Your military operation won't mean much when those things out there start firing. I've seen what they can do. As if to emphasize her point, a beam of energy sliced through the roof of the cabin, leaving a smoking hole. Everyone ducked instinctively. What the hell? One of the soldiers gasped. Colonel Harris hesitated, years of training battling with the unknown threat outside. Finally, he lowered his weapon slightly. You have 2 minutes to explain, he said to Jack. Jack nodded to Ren, who stepped forward despite the gun still partially aimed at him. The collective sent me away because I discovered their secret, Ren said, his 3-lidded eyes blinking rapidly. But they did not know I discovered it. What secret? Harris demanded. Ren moved to Maria's computer and quickly typed a series of commands. The screen filled with strange symbols that slowly translated into English. The collective is not just one world, Ren explained as he worked. Once was, but grew, spread to other worlds. Jack moved to stand beside Ren. You're saying your people conquered other planets? Not conquered, assimilated. Ren's fingers paused on the keyboard. Find species who think alone, like humans. Connect them to collective mind. They become part of us. The cabin shook as something heavy landed outside. The purple light intensified. They're getting closer, Maria warned. Ren continued typing. I found list of worlds marked for assimilation. He looked directly at Harris. Earth on list. The screen displayed a star map with Earth's solar system clearly highlighted. Harris's face paled. You're telling me your people are planning to invade Earth to, what, take over our minds? Yes, Ren said simply. When I found this, tried to warn targeted worlds. Collective discovered plan, called me traitor. Another energy beam cut through the wall, missing Harris's head by inches. The colonel ducked, then straightened, his military training taking over. Even if that's true, how do I know you're not part of their plan? He demanded. Jack stepped forward. Because he risked everything to come here. Ben, think about it. If he wanted to help them take over, why would he be running from them? Outside, the sound of trees crashing down grew closer. Metal scraped against metal as something mechanical moved through the forest. The mind shield, Ren said urgently. Must complete it now or hunters will find us. Harris looked at the device, then at his men, then back to Ren. After a long moment, he nodded. Johnson, Peters, secure the perimeter. Buy us some time. He turned to Jack. If you're lying to me, I'll shoot you myself. Jack smiled grimly. Fair enough. Working together, they completed the mind shield device following Ren's instructions. Maria's technical skills proved crucial as she soldered connections that Ren described. How does this work? Harris asked as they assembled the final pieces. Creates field that blocks collective mind scanning, Ren explained. Also disrupts tracker in my body. But won't they just track the device itself? Jack asked. Ren's alien features formed what might have been a smile. Device designed to move signals, make trackers point wrong direction. As they worked, the sounds outside grew louder. The soldiers Harris had sent to the perimeter reported multiple contacts, flying drones the size of cars moving through the trees. They're surrounding us, sir, Johnson reported through the radio. Like they're looking for something. Hold position but do not engage unless fired upon, Harris ordered. Ren connected the final wire to the device. A soft blue glow emanated from its center, spreading outward in waves. It works, Ren said, relief evident even through his translator. Hunters will lose our signal. The purple lights outside dimmed slightly, then began to move in different directions, as if confused. It's working, Jack said, watching through a window. They're breaking off their search pattern. Harris moved to stand beside him. So what now? We can't hide forever. No, Ren agreed. Mind shield temporary solution. Collective will send more hunters, stronger ones. Then we need to warn the world, Harris said. If what you're saying is true, Earth needs to prepare. Ren shook his head. Not enough time to prepare. Collective technology too advanced. Earth weapons. He gestured at the soldiers' rifles. Not effective. Then what do you suggest? Harris asked, frustration evident in his voice. Ren turned to Maria's computer again. Need to show you something else. Real reason I was sent away. On the screen, new images appeared, strange diagrams and what looked like building plans. My prison ship, Ren explained. Not just prison, also weapon. Jack leaned closer. What kind of weapon? When I discovered collective plans, I also found old technology from before Unity. Ren's eyes seemed to grow darker. Technology that could break mind connection, give back individual thought. Harris studied the diagrams. You're saying your ship contains a weapon that could disrupt this hive mind of yours? Yes. Built into ship systems. Ren looked at each of them. Could not activate alone. Needed help. Jack suddenly understood. That's why you let your ship get damaged. Why you ended up at Earth. It wasn't an accident at all. Ren blinked all three sets of eyelids slowly. Programmed navigation to find world with individual minds. Strong minds that value freedom. You came here on purpose, Maria said, her eyes wide. You wanted us to find you. Yes, Ren admitted. Took great risk. Collective would destroy whole world to stop spread of individuality virus. Harris's radio crackled. Sir, the drones are pulling back, but there's something else coming. Something big. Jack moved to the window and saw the trees at the edge of the clearing bending, making way for a massive shape moving toward them. What is that? He asked. Hunter Prime, Ren said, his voice suddenly quiet. Elite enforcer. Cannot hide from it even with mind shield. So we fight? Harris asked, checking his weapon. No, Ren said. Must reach my ship. Activate the weapon. Your ship is in orbit, surrounded by our military, Jack reminded him. Not main ship, Ren clarified. Escape pod has connection to main systems, can activate from there. The cabin shook as the Hunter Prime drew closer. Through the window, they could see it now, a towering machine with multiple limbs and a glowing center that pulsed with the same purple light as the drones. We need to move, Harris decided. Now. As they gathered what supplies they could, Jack noticed Wren standing very still, his eyes fixed on the approaching Hunter Prime. What is it? Jack asked. Hunter Prime, not just machine, Wren said quietly. Controlled directly by collective leadership. They see through its eyes. He turned to Jack. They know what I plan now. Will do anything to stop us. The gravity of their situation hit Jack fully. This wasn't just about helping one alien refugee anymore. This was about saving Earth from becoming the next world assimilated by the collective. As they prepared to leave the cabin, Wren placed a six-fingered hand on Jack's shoulder. Now you understand why I was sent away, he said. Freedom of thought, most dangerous weapon against unity. Jack nodded. On Earth, we have a saying, it's better to die on your feet than live on your knees. Wren's translator took a moment to process this. Yes, he finally replied. This is why I chose Earth. This is why I never wanted to leave. Dawn broke over the forest as Jack, Wren, Colonel Harris, and Maria raced toward the crashed escape pod. The night had been long and dangerous. Twice they had nearly been caught by Hunter drones, saved only by Wren's mind shield device. But the Hunter Prime still followed them, moving steadily through the trees like a giant metal spider, its purple light cutting through the morning mist. How much farther? Harris asked, breathing heavily as they climbed a steep hill. Just beyond the next ridge, Jack replied. He looked back at Wren, who was struggling to keep up. The alien's thin body wasn't built for Earth's gravity and dense atmosphere. Are you okay? Jack asked him. Wren nodded, all three sets of eyelids blinking rapidly. Must keep moving. Hunter Prime calls for reinforcements. They reached the top of the ridge and looked down into the valley where the escape pod had crashed 3 days earlier. The small silver craft lay half buried in the soft earth, trees broken around it. But they weren't alone. Military vehicles surrounded the pod, and soldiers in protective suits moved around it. Your people found it, Jack said to Harris. The colonel nodded grimly. Standard protocol. Secure and study any alien technology. We can't fight our way through them, Maria warned. Harris studied the scene below, then pulled out his radio. This is Colonel Harris, authorization code Sierra Echo 79. I need to speak to General Williams immediately. After a tense moment, a voice responded. Harris, where the hell have you been? The whole country is looking for you. Sir, I'm with Commander Wilson and the alien. We have critical information about an imminent threat to Earth. Request retry. Claude hit the max length for a message and has paused its response. You can write continue to keep the chat going. I continue at immediate clearance to approach the crash site. Negative, came the sharp reply. You are ordered to surrender the alien for containment and report for debriefing. This is a matter of national security. Harris looked at Jack, then at Wren. Sir, with respect, this is bigger than national security. It's about the survival of our species. The radio was silent for a long moment. Then you have 5 minutes to explain yourself, Colonel. As Harris spoke into the radio, explaining everything they had learned about the collective and their plans for Earth, Jack watched Wren. The alien stood at the edge of the ridge, staring up at the sky. What is it? Jack asked, moving to stand beside him. They are already here, Wren said quietly. Collective ships entering your solar system. Jack followed his gaze but saw only blue sky. How can you tell? Can feel them. Mind pressure growing. Wren placed one six-fingered hand on his chest. Tracker becoming active again. Mind shield weakening. Below, the soldiers around the crash site suddenly began moving with greater urgency. Someone had clearly spotted something on their equipment. Harris finished his radio call and rejoined them. We've got clearance to approach, but they're detecting multiple objects entering orbit. Large objects. The collective has arrived, Wren confirmed. Come for me, for all of you. They made their way down to the crash site. The soldiers parted to let them through, many staring openly at Wren. General Williams himself waited by the escape pod, his face hard as stone. This better be worth it, Harris, the general said. It is, sir. Show him, Wren. Wren stepped forward and placed his hand on the side of the escape pod. A hidden panel slid open, revealing a complex array of controls. This connects to main ship systems, Ren explained. Can activate defense protocols from here. What defense protocols? The general asked suspiciously. The weapon I built, Ren said. To free minds from collective control. Before Ren could explain further, a soldier ran up to the general. Sir, multiple objects entering Earth's atmosphere. Our weapon systems are having no effect. The sky darkened as clouds gathered unnaturally fast. Lightning flashed, but the bolts were purple, not white. They're here, Ren said. His voice carried a weight of sadness. A massive shadow passed overhead, and everyone looked up. A ship unlike any human craft moved slowly across the sky. It was enormous, at least half a mile long, with a design similar to Ren's prison ship but much larger. That's the collective? Jack asked. One small part, Ren replied. Mother ship carries assimilation teams. The general turned to Ren. What exactly does your weapon do? How can it stop them? Ren blinked slowly. Disrupts mind link, breaks collective connection. He looked at each of the humans gathered around him. Gives back individual thought. Like a virus, Jack added. It spreads the same disease that Ren has, the ability to think for yourself. The ship overhead stopped moving. A beam of purple light shot down, striking the ground about a mile away. Where it touched, the earth shook. They're landing, Harris said. The general made a quick decision. Activate your weapon. Now. Ren moved to the control panel and began working quickly, his 6 fingers dancing across the alien controls. To work properly, must broadcast from main ship, he explained. Need to send signal to prison vessel in orbit. A technician stepped forward. Sir, we've established a link to the alien ship in orbit. We can transmit from here. Ren nodded and continued working. Then he stopped suddenly, his alien features showing clear distress. What's wrong? Jack asked. Signal too weak, Ren said. Collective jamming transmission. He turned to face the humans. Need stronger connection. How do we boost the signal? The general demanded. Ren touched his own chest. Through me. Direct neural link. Jack understood first. No, that would. Mind burn. Fatal to brain, Ren confirmed. Silence fell over the group as they realized what Ren was suggesting. He would sacrifice himself to save them. There must be another way, Jack said. The purple beam of light widened through the trees. They could see shapes moving, tall, graceful figures like Ren but dressed in gleaming armor. The assimilation team approaches, Ren said. No more time. The general turned to his men. Prepare to engage the enemy. But Ren shook his head. Your weapon's useless against them. Only my virus will stop them. Without waiting for further discussion, Ren placed both hands on the control panel. His body stiffened, and a blue light began to flow from the panel up his arms. What's happening? Harris asked. He's doing it, Jack said, his voice thick with emotion. He's linking directly to the ship above them. The prison ship in orbit suddenly lit up with blue light, visible even in the daylight sky. The collective mother ship seemed to falter, drifting sideways as if caught in a wind. Ren's body trembled, but he kept his hands firmly on the panel. Signal broadcasting, he said, his translator struggling to keep up. Mind virus spreading. The advancing collective troops stopped suddenly. Even from a distance, Jack could see them clutching their heads, some falling to their knees. It's working, the general exclaimed. Blue light spread from the prison ship to the mother ship and then to the other collective vessels entering the atmosphere. One by one they slowed, then stopped. Some began to drift aimlessly. Ren's body was now glowing brightly, the blue light emanating from within him. Freedom, he whispered. Giving them choice. Jack moved to Ren's side, ignoring the warnings of the others. You knew this would happen all along, didn't you? This was always your plan. Ren's eyes, now glowing blue, turned to Jack. Yes. Needed brave world to help spread freedom. His voice grew weaker. Worth the sacrifice. The blue light from Ren intensified, becoming almost blinding. Jack had to step back, shielding his eyes. Virus complete, Ren said. Collective breaking apart, each mind becoming individual. With those words, the light seemed to explode outward from Ren's body, shooting into the sky like a beacon. The collective ships above glowed bright blue for a moment. Then their lights dimmed. Some began to move away, while others drifted closer to Earth. And then, as suddenly as it had begun, the light faded. Ren collapsed to the ground, his body no longer glowing. Jack knelt beside him, cradling the alien's head. Ren, can you hear me? Ren's eyes opened weakly, only one set of eyelids functioning now. Did it work? The general's radio crackled. Sir, the alien fleet is breaking formation. Some vessels are retreating. Others appear to be asking for help. It worked, Jack told Ren, smiling through tears he hadn't realized were falling. You freed them. Ren's six-fingered hand reached up weakly to touch Jack's face. Thank you for showing me what freedom truly means. His voice grew fainter. Was right to choose Earth. Never wanted to leave. His hand fell, and his eyes closed for the last time. Hours later, as medical teams attended to the confused and disoriented collective members who had survived Ren's mind virus, Jack stood on the ridge overlooking the valley. The sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant oranges and purples. Colonel Harris joined him, looking up at the alien ship still visible in orbit. What do you think will happen to them now? He asked. They'll have to learn to live as individuals, Jack said. Just like Ren did. It won't be easy. And us? Earth. Jack considered this. We've made first contact with an alien civilization. Not the way anyone expected, but maybe it's better this way. They're not conquerors anymore. Just people looking for a new start. Because of him, Harris said. Because he chose us, Jack nodded, watching as the first stars appeared in the evening sky. He said our minds were strong, that we valued freedom above all else. He smiled sadly. He was right about that. In the valley below, scientists had begun studying the escape pod systems, learning what they could from Ren's technology. Earth would be changed forever by this encounter. And somewhere far away, on distant worlds once controlled by the collective, millions of beings were experiencing individual thought for the first time. All because one alien had been brave enough to be different, to seek freedom, and to never want to leave the world that helped him find it.